You know, we've got to laugh, I think, otherwise, you know, we'd just cry, frankly. But the truth is, all this up and down around load shedding, all this uncertainty is really not good for our economy, not good for jobs.
Yeah, and especially at a time like this, Sally, when we're trying to grow the economy after shrinking 7% in a single year. It has been one heck of a ride over the past few days. It's also been one heck of a ride over the past decade, especially when you look at a survey from the World Economic Forum. This basically asks business leaders how they feel about the power supply in their country, whether or not it is actually reliable. And of course, a reliable power supply is important because you can't do business without it. So we're going to take a look at some of the numbers, Sally, when it comes to the ride, as we're calling it. So what you'll see here is a rating out of 7. So when it's as high as 7, people are totally confident that they have a reliable power supply. When it's down to 1, pretty much they expect to be in the dark. So take a look at how this has fluctuated in South Africa since 2007. Remember that energy crisis we had in 2008? Well, that's when we hit a score of 3.3 out of 7 in terms of the trust factor. As we got closer and closer to the 2010 World Cup, electricity supply started to improve. Of course, the lights couldn't go out while we were watching the football. It really evened out in the years after that, Sally, for about 2 to 3 years, and then it plunged in 2015 to a score of 2.8. Just to put that in perspective, Sally, in 2015 we had 99 days of load shedding between January and September. It was a disastrous year in terms of our power supply. A little bit of a recovery, Sally, and in 2017 we climbed to 3.9. But remember, this is out of 7, so we're just above average. Most people feeling pretty lukewarm about the power supply in South Africa. So as you can see, there's no certainty, there's not a lot of consistency, and that's not good for investor sentiment.
No, it's not. I have to ask, though, this was this power supply reliability survey. It actually looked, I think, at about 140 countries. Yep. I'm presuming we didn't come stone last. How did we do? We
didn't come stone last, but we weren't exactly shooting the lights out, if you'll excuse the pun, Sally. Let's take a look at the top performer, and that, of course, was Norway, one of the most reliable in terms of electricity supply. What you'll see here is that it's not much of a roller coaster ride. It's really stable, Sally. So a score of 6.5 out of 7. It dips a little bit a few years later in 2011 to 6.48, and then it reaches a high point of 6.87. So most business people in that country absolutely confident that the lights will stay on. But let's focus on our final graphic just to put it all in perspective in terms of where South Africa is. So we'll see the Norway line there, Sally, and the South African roller coaster, and that blue line in the middle is the world median. So that's almost like the average for countries around the globe. Half the countries were above that score, half the countries were below that score. And what you'll see, Sally, is that the world median is around about 5, just under 5. South Africa peaked at 3.92. So lots of lessons for the next 5 years. Eskom did say we'll have a shortfall, Sally, possibly until 2026. So let's hope we learn to live with load shedding and perhaps deal with it at a government level.